Welcome back. It's Naturally Nat, and today we're going to make a quick, fast, and furious casserole. It's going to be a chicken casserole. It's going to be made with stuff you probably have in your pantry, and there really isn't even any recipe for it, but I thought I'd throw this together because I make this a lot for my casserole-loving friends, namely Daniel and BM. I am not a casserole person myself. I don't like just eating one thing on my plate unless it's pizza or lasagna. Otherwise, I like, maybe a couple different vegetables. So I'm just not a casserole person, but I know a lot of people are, and a lot of times you kind of have to be because you don't have time, right? And you got to know what to throw together quickly that pulls together things from both your pantry and your refrigerator, so you can rotate your stock. And that is what today's casserole is. It's for BM, and it's a rotated I got to rotate the stock on my refrigerated casserole. So let's get at it. Okay, what I got here is, and I better give this a quick stir, is some noodles, some like macaroni and cheese noodles, and I had some vegetables that I needed to get rid of. I had some peppers not going bad, but about ready to, in the fridge, and I had some old onions that need to get chopped up. And one thing you can do in making a casserole like this is go ahead and throw those vegetables in with the water when the water's boiling, okay? This is a no-name macaroni and cheese that's the base of this casserole, and alone this tastes like dog doo-doo. No offense to you little doggies out there, but this doesn't taste good, but it's cheap, really, really cheap. Today's casserole is dirt cheap. Probably the whole thing maybe cost $1. No kidding. So I threw in my peppers and my onions when the water was boiling, just like you would according to the box's directions to cook the noodles. That's where we begin right now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my drainer, and I'm going to drain that, not rinse, drain that pasta water, just like you would if you were making macaroni and cheese. Now, if you were making macaroni and cheese out of a box, the next thing that you do would be to add your milk and butter and call it a day. And you know what? I don't know. I'm burned out on just plain old macaroni and cheese. I don't know if I ate tons of. I did eat tons of it when I lived in the dorms a million years ago. And I just burned out on it. I can't eat it anymore. But I can if it's made this way as a casserole. Okay, anyway, going back to the plain macaroni and cheese as the way you make it out of the box. This is so much better. Get yourself a large bowl. Find what vegetables that you need to get rid of in your refrigerator. It could be fresh zucchini. It's starting to go bad enough. If that's the case, do not put it in the water, whether it's fresh or starting to go. Do not put it in the water to cook. Add it maybe the last minute to your hot pasta that's already been boiled and drained, because it's a delicate vegetable. It'll fall apart. So you got to, kind of depending on what you're trying to get rid of in your refrigerator. Onions and peppers are darn sturdy. So is fresh broccoli. Darn sturdy. So is fresh asparagus that you may need to get rid of in the refrigerator. Those can go in the boiling water, but your more delicate vegetables, if you had some old mushrooms, no dice. Those can't go in the boiling water. These can. If you had a little jar, let's say a half jar of pimentos sitting in the back of your refrigerator, a half jar of black olives you had sitting around in the back of your refrigerator, you're like, I want to get all these little half jars and doodads out of here. They would be very good in this. Pimentos and sliced up black olives would be very good in this. So we've got that in our big bowl, mixing bowl. We're going to throw in 4 knobs of butter, okay, roughly a quarter of a stick, quarter of a cup. And we got our strange, futuristic, invented, 50 years ago, cheese powder, or whenever it was invented, which alone with butter would make this a sad little dish, right? And then I also had some frozen peas that I had from a previous casserole I made last summer actually it was from my elderly neighbors, that it's been just in the back of my freezer. It needs to go. I need to get a new bag of these frozen peas, and all I did was just let these thaw on the countertop in a bowl while I did some chores. We're going to toss those in. Those don't need to be thrown in the hot water because they are delicate and they would fall apart and they turn to mush. The magic ingredient to give this some life is about this much. You know it, You know what it is. It begins with a V, and it doesn't mean victory. But that good old processed orange cheese, which incidentally I never buy, because yeah, I know it's yummy and it melts great, but it's expensive these days. So this I had left over from another project dish that I made. Otherwise I wouldn't have this on hand. But I almost always have hard cheddar, and you could use that. Maybe shred up, hand shred please, always hand shred, don't buy the pre-shredded kind. About this much of the cheese would be probably a cup of shredded cheddar, but I want to use this old processed cheese and get it out of here. Then I have about a quarter of a cup of blips, blops, droops, drips of cream cheese, which makes everything absolutely lovely, does it not? And what I'm going to do, I should have probably done this in the, not dirtied this bowl and done this in the skillet for a couple different reasons. The first one being this will melt and get homogeneous faster in the pot, but I thought I would have too many ingredients in it, and also the cheese will melt faster, but that's okay. I'll just sit here and stir this. Once this gets melty, I got a little bit, about a quarter cup of milk per the box's instructions. It just gets a little meltier. I'm going to transfer this into a casserole dish, and then this can go into the oven, really not very long, 350 oven, 15-20 minutes. Or I'll tell you what, I'm making this for Bien, who will just probably take it and put it on a plate and microwave it. Bet you $50. You won't even bother with turning the stove on and doing it that way. But you could do it either way. And I do have a little bit, but not very much, of crushed potato chips, which I like to put on top of a casserole like this, because it gives it some texture, right? And I think that's part of the reason that I'm not a big fan of a lot of casseroles, is they don't have any texture. I think what I'll put those chips on top, and then I have some fresh croutons that I made in the refrigerator, and for salads and stuff. I might take a couple of those and break those in my hands and put those on top too, to give it a little crunch. And what we're doing here is we're just getting all of that cheese and the butter. The butter is almost melted. Thickened up here. This is going to thicken because it's got a lot of cheese in it. Here we go. As it sits, once I put it in the refrigerator, so I'm going to go ahead and add this milk right now, although that will cool it down a little bit, which I don't really like. And I might even toss this for just a couple seconds in the microwave, just to get that cheese, oops, get back here, stray noodle, a little meltier. So I think I'm going to do that right now in my microwavable wonderful bowl. I'll be right back. Going to give this a couple seconds, just because I should have maybe cut my cheese down just a little bit thinner. And actually, if I knew he was going to eat it, if he was actually going to put it in the oven like a normal person and bake it off and eat it, I would just put it right into my casserole dish. But I know he's not going to do it, so that's why I'm doing this little extra step. Otherwise, this casserole is done. Put it in a greased or ungreased, round or square, it doesn't matter, Pyrex dish, and it is ready to go right in the oven, as long as 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, as long as you got the oven preheated. Fast dinner that comes together really quickly. There we go, that's what it needed. It needed to melt up a little bit. Now, there's no seasonings to this right now, so I'm going to change that up by adding the good old basics, the holy trinity of seasonings: garlic powder, onion powder, and pepper. I don't even think with the processed cheese that you really need much salt, because there's probably plenty of sodium in that, unfortunately. So I'm going to add in some coarse ground pepper. That gives it a fun little shake of taste, right? A little bit of onion powder, or a lot. Measure with your heart. Not just with vanilla, but with garlic and onion powder. I love the smell of garlic and onion powder, honestly. I mean, does it get any better than that? Yep. Now we're talking. Now, this would have been prettier if I would have had leftover red pepper. And I did have a little bit of red pepper, but I'm going to use that in my dinner for myself tonight, which is going to be a small personal pizza with pepperoni and peppers and sweet heat jalapenos. That's what I'm going to have for dinner. But this is almost done. I'm going to get a different pan, more appropriate for that size. And I do have mountains of casserole dishes because I am my mother's daughter. I have a ton of these Pyrex casserole dishes. I'm going to taste it for a little bit of, see if it needs more seasoning. It might need a little bit of salt. I think it needs more garlic. It needs more pepper. The only thing I don't like about using a grinder like this is you always end up getting not enough pepper in it because you get tired of doing that. Got a new spoon here because I already ate off that other spoon. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to get out another spoon, get another taste. One last thing that this needs, I almost forgot, is we need to make this full of protein. Okay? So I'm going to add these things. They're cheap. They're just chicken, already pre-cooked. If you were to eat this out of the bag, it would be kind of nasty town. You know what I'm saying? But when you add it to a casserole like this, it's not bad. Plus, this adds like, I don't know, 20 grams of protein. Because otherwise, the way I had this dish, I almost forgot to put the meat in it, it would be a pretty low protein dish other than, you know, what you got in the cheese. And of course, peas have protein. This is a really, really cheap, inexpensive dinner that you can make on a budget, right? Now, my personal feelings are if you cook this in the oven, you could put some buttered cornflakes on top. Besides using breadcrumbs or panko buttered panko would be good as a crunchy topping. I think it tastes better because I think that this pre-cooked envelope chicken, that's what I call it, just tastes a lot better. Boy, that gave it some texture here. Just tastes a lot better if you bake it off. But my audience, who this is for, won't be doing that. So we're going to go ahead, transfer it. You know, I said earlier that I'm not a big casserole person, that this smells good. I mean, it does. It smells good. Okay. We're going to smooth the top. We're going to get rid of these old hang-around chips that I've had for a while. They make a good first layer of crunch. Let me get those really delicious breadcrumbs out of the fridge that I made last week. Ooh, they're so good. And they're pretty highly seasoned. I have all kinds of Italian seasonings on them. And, ooh, I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear that? Ooh, they're crispy. They'll add a nice crunch. And then, you know what I think everybody says, and this is so true, you eat with the eyes first, and you do. You do. I mean, how many times do you look at something gorgeous and take a bite into it, and then it tastes crappy? Now, maybe that happens to you, but you know what? I don't know if it's psychological or not, but if it looks good, it usually is good. Or maybe your brain says, this is going to taste good. Now, occasionally at parties, I've had something that somebody's made, and it looks great, and it's not really great. I think it tastes awful. But not often. So what I'm doing with giving this texture, giving it a little color with my last thing that I'm going to do, makes it more palatable, makes it tastier. I'm going to add my smoked chili powder. I love this stuff. I've used it before on this channel. This won't be the last time I'll drag it out. Give it a little. There you go. That hasn't even been baked. And it smells good. It's got a lot of protein in it because I put all that chicken in it. It's got the peas. I cleaned out the peas now, and I can get a bag of fresh peas next time I go to the store. I got rid of the peppers I needed to get rid of and the onions. And you end up with a pretty good casserole. You know, the funny thing is, if this were me eating it, this would take me a couple days. If it were me and maybe a small child or two. But this is probably going to be 1 or 2 meals for the person I'm making it for. But it does smell good, especially with that smoked chili powder on that. Man, that smells good. Go ahead and make it and get rid of some of that stuff out of your refrigerator. You'll save money. It'll smell good if you do it in the oven, right? Bake it off in the oven. It'll smell good. That automatically will make your people hungry and not rip off your wallet. So, like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time to come here and spend a few minutes with me today. And I hope you have a blessed and lovely day. And I'll see you next time, next Sunday. Bye.